Hi, my name is Taylor Rowe-Williams. I am a food science major and a junior here at Alabama A&M University. And today I'll be talking about food pathogens in meat and poultry detection and control measures. So a little background on food pathogens. It's an illness known as food poisoning and often caused by food contaminated food that is contaminated by bacteria, toxins, viruses, chemicals, and other agents. And a little background on detection and control measures or methods, whichever one. Um, Detection methods is known for the techniques to break down RNA, DNA, um, a little bit of it's known for the microorganisms, to break down the microorganisms of each pathogens, or rather whatever pathogens that is contaminated by the meat product. And the control methods or measures is known for it could be known for like HACCP plans and CPP. Sorry, it's known for CPP. And also, it could be known for plans that's created by a group of people that help address its food safety, along with dealing with the meat products and basically being a gap area being a gap area between the factories and the retail or restaurants. So it's that gap area, and it's known for like to help factories document everything they do as far as the slaughter process to shipping and handling and going towards retail and restaurants. So that's that. Common foodborne pathogens. So the two here that are listed is called, one of them to the top left is known as Listeria. It's also known as Listeriosis. It's a species. It's a species of pathogenic bacteria that are found in moist environments. So a little bit on that, a little bit more information on that is that Listeria likes to grow in like a wet, kind of like dry, moist area. So if you would think about it like rain, how it rains and then it just dry by the sun, that's the kind of environment it would like to live in and grow. Um, Another common foodborne pathogen is Salmonella, also known as Salmonella Salmonella um, is down here at the bottom left, is also known as a group of bacteria that causes illness and fevers. So the difference between these two is one that likes to grow in a certain environment, and one is basically already be in the food, but you cannot see it. But however, if you cook it a certain way or undercook it, so and say, um, it will lead to illnesses and fevers. What they both have in common is that they are harmful to yoki, um, young, old, pregnant, and autoimmune system, people with autoimmune system. So they are known to harm that type of group of people because in a biology sense, especially with pregnant women, they are more harmful. Bacteria like that is more harmful because the system, like your internal organs, are weak. They're not as strong as they would normally be if that person or particular if that person was not pregnant. Um, it's also it's also dangerous to little kids that's under 5, from 2 to 5 years old, even in babies, but it's more common to be caught on through the ages of 2 through 5. And that is still because the internal organs are still being developed as they're growing. So it's not at a full developing growth. And older people, such as older adults, 65 and older, they're known for their immune system and internal organs to get weaker because they're getting old. Because of their body is slowly getting old and it don't fight off bacteria and stuff as it normally would do as if they was young. So that's one thing. Here are 4 sources of contamination. This kind of explains where contaminations normally start to happen. It can happen of lack of hygiene. Um, it could start it could start off as lack of hygiene, like keeping the area clean, such as the kitchen and stuff. If you work in a factory, it's kind of hard to keep up with the cleaning of the factory because you're dealing with so much meat, you're dealing with so much blood, you're dealing with so much slaughtering, you're dealing with like loose fat, and you know that fat has like just a whole bunch of everything that you could think of. That's why they go through a stage of a process of a water bath. That's why they go through a stage of a process of um, a whole lot in the factory. They go to a stage of process of slaughtering, just it's just different parts of the meat product that can be contaminated or that can like give off that slimy kind of feeling or look like if you ever clean your meat and you know how some meats and poultry or especially poultry has that sliminess to it that could come off with it as well. Source of contamination could also happen with pre-slaughtering, so before they slaughter and after they slaughter. So that's another thing. Here are here are detection methods um, that I have researched. Here are a full list. Here on my left, here's a full list of detection methods. But the 2 main methods that I wanted to focus on is called culture-based. It's called culture-based. It identifies the bacteria. So this particular method deals with the bacteria growth. So if you ever in a lab and you're dealing with trying to figure out how do it grow, what temperature does it grow in, how long do it grow, how long do it take to grow. So if you ever in a lab and ever trying to figure out what bacteria grows in certain different temperatures or area, you will notice when scientists are like taking a little swab and they're just swabbing the culture container, and what they're doing is they're trying to figure out how much bacteria or how much pathogens can grow from just off that base, like the base they have in the container. So That's one thing. Um, and then another thing, like I mentioned before, DNA and RNA. I also mentioned that earlier. The nucleic acid-based method describes more of a specific DNA or RNA sequence. It also targets the pathogen microorganisms. So yes, you have the pathogens, but you also have the microorganisms. They're mostly, I can think of, they're mostly like humans, because like how humans have DNA and RNA, and we have blood samples and stuff. That would be, just think of that, but just in more of a, on just more of a microorganism, more of a like a really dissected microorganism type perspective in a way, type perspective. So here are some steps to prevent foodborne pathogens that consumers can follow in their household. Step one is to clean your area. Wash your hands. Wash any surfaces that you think that you're gonna use. Wash your entire kitchen down. Wipe your entire kitchen down. Sorry. Then you want to separate your raw meat and poultry, vegetables. Just separate all the things that you'll be cutting up from the knives, like separated. Some people have a certain knife they'll use. Some people have a certain cutting. There are certain cutting boards that you have to use to deal with cutting your products or produce. You also want to, the third step is that you want to cook your food, whatever food that you're cooking, you want to cook it at a normal temperature range from 160 to 165. That is more for the meat. You don't want to cook it in that danger zone. You kind of want to cook it where, to the point where it's safe, where the um, CDC and FDA thinks that is safe to eat, because even though yes, that heat do kill bacteria, is also another way. So just how the way that heat kills bacteria is also another way where it could be reversed if the instructions are not followed, or your food is not cooked at the right temperature. And then you also want to chill your food. Um, Cold temperatures do slow down growth of germs, but like I said before, just as something kills it, it could also be reversed if it's not properly properly doing so between the cooking and the chilling part. So you also want to be safe in the kitchen when you're cooking. So always keep that in mind. Here are some case studies that I have found that was very interesting, that I have gotten most of my research based off of. So I want to kind of like want to break it down to you as far as like the conventional and advanced detection techniques of foodborne pathogens, and compares in a comprehensive review. That is a research review that I have uh, kind of read over, and it kind of broke down the different detection methods and techniques of like RNA, DNA, basically like RNA and DNA. It also breaks down different techniques, like I have shown on the other slides. It kind of gives you more in the details of that. So, and then the bacterial contaminants of poultry meat sources, species, and dynamics. So that research or that case study has really shown me a different perspective of each contamination, of each like the sources, species of poultry meat and meat in general. So that's that was some really good information, and I really learned from that. So here are the future trends. Here are like two that I've listed. So the future trends in this case is kind of challenging. It is challenging because it's still an ongoing case, and it's been an ongoing case for decades. The FDA has been uh, writing research, been trying to prevent foodborne pathogens with the technology they do have. However, in most cases, they are asking for like faster technology so they can get to prevent food pathogens faster. However, it is kind of like difficult to team up. It's not difficult, but it's not difficult to team up with other federal agencies and health agencies and all that. It's not difficult. It's just that the research they have been using old research that's basically um, that's outdated as far as technology being advanced now, and more of so it's saying that it's still some data that's been missed out of. So they're catching up on that. The CDC is kind of like following the FDA, but however, the CDC is known of the control, and it's basically they're known for like the controlling part of the investigation. So, however, that's that. In conclusion, the FDA, CDC is still keeping foodborne pathogens at risk. I mean, still keeping food pathogen risk at a minimum. Like I said earlier, it is challenging, but they're continuously working on trying to get faster technology and to be able to detect um, more food pathogens. They're still trying to do more cases of like the older cases of other pathogens, more so say of recalls. They're trying to catch up on the recalls, and they are trying to prevent it from happening again. So it wouldn't just be a first time thing. So they're just trying to keep it at a minimum. And they're also highly suggesting that consumers that buy meat also follow the four food safety plan, food safety plan that is recommended by the CDC. Um, so yeah. Here are some slide links. Here are the links to all the slides. Like, if you want to do more research on it. Also, in class, you can ask me about more links. I do have more links. However, I can provide that. Um, just ask me in class, and I'll be able to give that to you. So, I know that we're going to be presenting this in class. This video is going to show in class. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. And if I cannot get to your questions, however, I will have to answer to you momentarily. I may not have to answer to you right then and there if it's beyond my knowledge of knowing, depending on whatever question that you're going to ask. But however, I do appreciate you for allowing me to show you my research, and thank you for tuning in. So I'll see you in class.